TO Sports Talk, episode 20. And we're into the 20s, guys. But it's a Thursday night upload, and I apologize to you guys because I said in the last podcast that it would be a regular Tuesday afternoon, but my girlfriend went into surgery, and as you guys understand, life comes first.
Podcast second, life first.
All the time.
Family, friends, girlfriend comes first. Podcast and everything else comes second. So
Right.
we're
And
happy she's okay and everything.
Everything's good. Everything's
Perfect.
great.
Awesome.
And everything's back to normal now, so that's great news. I'm your host, James Price, and I host TO Sports Talk along with Evan Brown. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good, man.
That's
As
great.
long as you're good, I'm good.
Hey,
Let's get this thing rolling.
We're golden. We're great.
Awesome.
We're going to start off with the Toronto Raptors and Kawhi Leonard. Those two names might need to get familiar with each other. We'll talk about that right out of the gate.
And also for the Blue Jays, Vladdy G will have a good discussion about him, how he might be promoted to AAA. And also for the Blue Jays, well, I mean, the trade deadline is looming, and the All-Star break is also looming. And the only good news about the Blue Jays is that the season is almost halfway over. So that's good news.
And for the Leafs, there's not a whole lot to talk about. A few minor signings, Tyler Ennis being a Leaf, and possible line combinations moving forward. There's a lot of questions moving forward when it comes to the fourth line and all that. We'll get to that final. And obviously, we'll go around the NHL. Trades all up the wazoo. Erik Karlsson, Max Pacioretty. We'll talk about all that stuff later on the podcast.
So let's get this thing rolling. Episode
Get it
20.
going. Episode 20, Toronto Raptor fans. Now, if you did not hear today, which I'd be shocked if you didn't hear it today, that according to odds and some big guys in the industry, the Toronto Raptors have the best odds to land Kawhi Leonard.
This is interesting for one reason and one reason only, is that Kawhi Leonard needs a new contract.
Well,
he is in the same position as Paul George was in when Indiana traded him to OKC. He needed a new contract this coming summer, if you will. He got a new contract from OKC, but at the time he got traded to OKC from Indiana, he wasn't too sure if they were going to re-sign him or not. Same kind of thing with Kawhi. Kawhi obviously wants to get out of the West. I don't blame him for doing that. So if he comes to a weak Eastern Conference, he might make it to the NBA Finals.
Now the question that's of hand, if the Raptors were to make that move, what would be the return for the San Antonio Spurs? And I saw today, I don't know if it wasn't a mock trade or anything, but I think it was something that was linked. I don't know exactly what it was, but the trade was DeMar DeRozan. Okay, that's probably the big value piece right away, the impact player right now.
Right.
OG Anunoby, Jakob Poeltl, and possibly a pick or picks. That's a lot for a guy who could be leaving at the end of the season.
And is injury prone. You didn't mention that. He is injury prone. It's his knee.
Well, that's Zaza Pachulia in the darn playoffs.
It doesn't matter if it was Zaza Pachulia.
Yeah, whatever.
Meaning is that he did get injured for the past 2 seasons with his knee, and knee injuries are never pretty, guys.
Especially in basketball.
With
a lot of guys they're jumping all over the place, the knees and leg injuries are terrible.
In any sport, with hockey, you could say the same thing about skating. You use your knees for skating, your legs,
for
right?
Sure. Yeah,
with any sport, a knee injury is crucial. It can end a career.
If you can't do anything with your legs, I mean, sports for you is gone.
It's a joint in your leg.
Sports.
It's a joint in your leg that you need, right? So here it is. Okay, so the Raptors' odds are even. So they do have the best odds of signing Kawhi Leonard, but then you have the Spurs at a plus 400, the Lakers at a plus 500, the Clippers at a plus 600, and then we're just going down the list of 76ers at a plus 800. The Bucks at a plus 1,000.
And then it goes Knicks, Cavaliers, Rockets, Nets, and the rest.
So I think that his time in San Antonio is done.
I think so too. And the way you put it right out of the gate was really key. You said get out of the Western Conference, right? That's what you said. And I agree 100% because who wants to be over there when you got the super stupid team in the Golden State Warriors? And the teams that you named here, the Spurs, the Lakers, and the Clippers, the 3 teams behind the Raptors, obviously all in the Western Conference.
True. And he wanted to leave the Spurs even before Boogie went to the Golden State Warriors, before LeBron went to LA. So he wanted to leave before those moves happened. And now I think it's just a given that he is going to leave the Spurs. Now, the Spurs are obviously doing the right thing in trading him and getting a lot of assets back for him. Now, if this trade were to happen, would you be okay with giving up all those pieces for one You could argue franchise guy, because I do think he is a franchise player.
Big time. No.
For 1 year, for injury prone, but if you do have him, you lose half your bench. You lose DeRozan, who was your franchise guy. Yes, Kawhi Leonard is better than DeRozan, who would argue, but I mean, it is steep, especially for 1 year, but if we could re-sign him long term, that would make it worth it, in my opinion.
And I think that's the big question. Can he re-sign?
Yeah.
And I think with the money this team doesn't have, it's going to be tough.
Because right now the Spurs will trade him because they know he's not coming back to San Antonio. So they are pretty much actively shopping him right now, which
Right.
I don't blame them for doing that. That's
Right.
smart with them doing that. Same thing like Indiana. Paul George was not going to re-sign with the Pacers, so it was smart that Indiana was actively shopping
And
him.
look what they got. They got Oladipo and Sabonis back, right? And look what Oladipo did for them.
And plus, right now the Spurs are going through a rebuild, so they want these young guys. And obviously, Masai does not want to go through a rebuild. It's been proven that he doesn't. It's been said that he doesn't. So this is the perfect player to possibly get the Raptors over the hump in the East.
For this season. And that's the part that scares me. I know this window for this team, it was said a couple years ago that it's only 2 or 3 years. Now we're saying it's 2 to 3 years with Lowry and DeRozan's contracts and all that. And the move, look, getting rid of DeRozan, a lot of people, obviously the big thing that came up today or a few days ago about DeRozan deleting all his tweets, all his pictures on Instagram. That's something people just look into and say, oh, this means he's going to get traded.
Julio Jones of the Atlanta Falcons did the exact same thing. He's still with the Falcons.
Right. And that's just something, right? I don't know. Whatever. You can't look too deep into that.
No, you can't.
But what you're losing. And yes, Kawhi Leonard is arguably one of the best players in the game.
So let's break it down for the Raptors. Who would we be losing? DeMar DeRozan, multiple All-Star.
Who are you getting? Let's just break that down first.
You're getting a guy who is the best two-way defensive player in the league. He is a top 5 player when healthy in the league, right?
Right.
And I wouldn't necessarily say that he carried the Spurs because it wasn't all him. The Spurs did have a good team around him. Heck, the Spurs made it to the playoffs last year without him.
Yeah.
But you are getting a very sound scorer and a sound person because Kawhi...
It doesn't say a whole lot.
It doesn't say a whole lot, but he performs on the court.
Reminds us of Fred VanVleet, no emotion.
I think he's less cocky than Fred VanVleet. I mean, it's one thing, but Kawhi literally shows no emotion at all. Nope. And he doesn't really... I don't necessarily think he is really good communicating. Like, okay, if
honestly, it's hard for us to tell. We don't watch the Spurs a whole lot, right? So
but if he were to come to the Raptors, we would look at him as the guy. And I don't think he wants to be known as the guy.
Well, if that's the case, you got to go to a super team. Because if you as Kawhi Leonard do not want to be the guy...
Well, not necessarily a super team. I'm thinking of maybe somebody with already an all-star caliber players.
I know all-star caliber players are one thing, but Kawhi Leonard is arguably a franchise player.
Yes.
So that's where I look at him like, look, if you're not going to be the guy, go play with LeBron in LA.
See, he plays like the guy, and he plays like a franchise player, but up here... and how he communicates with his coaches, mentally and how he communicates, he's not there. So if he comes to Toronto, he's going to be looked at as the franchise guy, the guy. And I don't know if he wants to be in that spotlight, because I don't think he does.
Clearly, Masai doesn't give a darn. I mean, I honestly, we don't even know how deep these discussions are. It's just the odds. And a lot of people, I was listening today about, some of the other possible Eastern Conference teams, right? And you look at Boston, because them and Philly would probably be the two teams I think that would, if they were going to go after him, would be those guys.
Obviously.
With Boston, they don't want to trade Tatum. They don't want to trade Jaylen Brown.
Again, you don't never say never, because look who you're getting back. I understand that Jaylen Brown and Tatum...
But those guys are young and controllable. That's the thing, right? Kawhi is not. He is not...
Controllable as in what? What do you mean?
Contract-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are.
Right.
And if you're willing to give up a little bit of Jaylen Brown...
But right now, the Celtics are looking at as, okay, we have to go all in because look who we're probably going to be facing in the finals, right?
So even then, no one's going to beat them. No one's going to beat Golden State.
But that doesn't matter. Like, that's beside the point if they are going to beat them or not. No team is going to say, "Yep, season's done. Golden State's going to win it." No team, no player is going to say that. So, I mean, it's
no team, no franchise is going to no general manager is going to come out and say that. Well, we might as well fold. We might as well quit now because we're not going to win, and that's kind of useless. It's kind of stupid for any GM or coach or anybody to come out and say that from any other team.
Right. I mean, they're probably thinking that, and I don't blame them for definitely thinking like that, because what person in their right mind would think that they can beat the Golden State Warriors as of now? But they have to tell the media what the media wants to hear, pretty much, and that is these cookie cutter answers. And just saying that, oh yeah, we think, heck, the Brooklyn Nets are probably going to say, if everyone stays healthy and consistent, we could make it to the playoffs. Right? So, with the whole, with this whole debacle, with the whole Kyrie Leonard, Kyrie Leonard.
Yeah.
I mean, his agent obviously isn't going to say anything, but I don't buy these odds for one bit, to be completely honest with you.
Like we were doing before. We were kind of breaking this down. Who would we get? We broke down Kawhi Leonard. Now, what would we give away? Let's start from the back end first.
A first-round pick.
It did picks. I'm not sure what that would
be. Okay, well, let's just discuss the picks. Okay. So, the first-round pick, if it's going to be for next year, that's going to be still a late first.
Yeah.
Right? Because without Kawhi, and if we keep the same team, I don't think we would be first.
They'd still be top 4 or top 5 in the league.
Exactly.
In the conference.
Okay, a second, pretty much, it's going to be a late second, whatever. Now, Jakob Poeltl. This is a guy who was obviously behind JV for the whole year, pretty much.
Yep.
Was a part of the bench mob. Was drafted, was it 9th overall 2 years?
Yeah, I think it was 9th.
It was 9th overall, I think in 2016 or 2017. I'm not sure. It was a Pascal Siakam draft.
It was 2 years ago, I think, then.
Okay, so 2016.
I think so.
Very promising young guy. Obviously has not shown necessarily or took that step, but he is still very young.
There's been moments for Jakob Poeltl.
He needs to get stronger, though.
Yeah, big time.
He looks like a beanpole out there.
He's good in the offensive glass, and that's weird to say because he needs to get stronger. But he's very good there. But everywhere else, I don't know. His shot really isn't anywhere to be found.
So with this player, would you be okay with, or is it still? I mean, we are getting back. So would you rather keep the big man and maybe getting rid of a DeLon Wright, or with Poeltl, you would be okay with?
I'd be okay with it. You're getting Kawhi Leonard, right. So fine.
Okay. Now, the guy that me and you...
that still scares me.
OG Anunoby was looking great in the Summer League.
He had a great last game. I had 22 points in the third game there.
Now, this guy has to be the most promising, quote-unquote prospect we have on the team, right? So, if we do give up him, it's going to sting, because you can tell that this guy is going to be at least 16 point per game player, or even NBA star at the highest.
We never know. But yeah.
Right, exactly. So,
and the reason why I was bringing up Boston and Philly about not wanting to trade their main guys like Markelle Fultz, obviously Simmons ain't going anywhere, is because those guys are franchise players. They will be huge difference makers.
Well,
with OG, you haven't seen it yet.
Well, you can argue that Markelle Fultz will never adjust his jump shot. You could argue that, yes, I think you're looking at it because he was drafted first overall. If you can't perform as a first overall draft pick, obviously injuries don't help either. You're not going to be a franchise guy. So we don't know about Markelle Fultz. Ben Simmons, yes, understood. Tatum and Brown, obviously, I mean, definitely elite.
Because you look past those two, Brown and Tatum, who's there to trade?
Well, you could say Marcus Smart. I mean...
Yeah, but that kind of evens up with Jakob Poeltl, right? I'm sorry, Marcus Smart didn't do a whole lot for them this year.
No, but you're still looking at a guy who is more physical than Jakob Poeltl.
Would you compare him to OG Anunoby? No.
No. I mean, it's so hard to tell. Like, you're only getting 1 year. Right now, I would say Marcus Smart's obviously the better player than OG Anunoby, but it's because it's
the
his
upside,
first year.
Though? The upside is
right.
a lot higher.
Right. I will agree with you there. So, it is hard. Now, I would want to swap out maybe OG Anunoby for any other young guy on our roster, like DeLon Wright.
Yeah.
You could even see Pascal Siakam, but I don't want to trade OG Anunoby.
If you traded Pascal Siakam, you just traded your backup center and power forward. So your two big men on the back end on your bench are gone.
Now, are you looking at... Are you looking at skill wise or trading positionally? Like,
I think it's a little bit of both. You know, I mean, with both these guys, with Siakam and Pirtle, they're still very excuse me, they're still very young, and there's a lot of upside to them.
yeah.
You know, you see games where like they really jump out there, and you're like, wow, this kid is something special. And there's another game where they just flat out stink.
Well, it's just young,
Right?
young guys in general, right? They have to develop to the league. It takes some time. So I would want to swap out OG Anunoby for any other young guy. Let that be I don't know.
DeLon Wright.
DeLon, okay.
I
Or,
want to put in DeLon or something.
okay, well, you
'Cause
want to put him in, but will they want him?
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not sure.
well, of course, right?
But
Yeah.
any team has the advantage over the Spurs because every team knows the Spurs pretty much have to trade this guy.
Yeah, because they're not going to. He's not going to re-sign, and they want to get at least something back.
Right, exactly. So I would think that Masai would be smart enough to keep OG. Maybe even just throw in Pirtle and a first, and then maybe DeRozan, and then keep at least 3 young guys.
But then so like you just said, DeMar DeRozan was the last piece of that trade.
It sucks you're getting rid of him, but it isn't working out for him here. He's a great player. He's a multiple-time All-Star, but it's just not working out, and it's not his fault. It's really not.
Okay,
He's a great
with
player.
trading DeMar DeRozan, how much better do you get?
I
I mean, Kawhi Leonard for DeMar DeRozan, yes, that's a nice swap. You're getting rid of OG,
And you're getting
rid
rid
of Jakob Pirtle, and possibly a first-round pick.
right. And
I would not do that trade.
I think since DeMar was playing in Toronto his whole career, he was looked at like besides us, nobody watches Toronto Raptor games. So
no, nobody down in the States really pay hardcore attention to the Toronto
no,
Raptors.
and a lot of people. I mean, the Spurs are they're pretty they're a fairly big market. So with that being said, a lot of people are gonna watch Leonard over obviously DeMar DeRozan. So I don't think he's that far off from being on his level.
I agree
on
with
Leonard's
that.
level,
Yeah, for sure.
but he's still below him.
And throwing in OG, Jakob Pirtle, and a possible first. That's the part where I'm like, hang on.
I think that we're just trying to make this trade, like, just to make a trade. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't necessarily have to get this player because the guy.
How much better do you actually get with that trade?
Right. So I think that we just want to make a trade to make a trade, if that makes sense. We're not getting, I mean, we're getting a little better with the 1-for-1 swap with DeRozan and Leonard.
With all this,
but with
it's 1 year. It could even be just 1 year.
Personally, I think it's too much risk. If they want to do, I mean, I don't even know why
If
they
they
would
do a
this.
Freddie Anderson type of deal, trade for him and sign him.
Well, that's trading his rights, and obviously he's going to be a lot lower, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in trade value, it's definitely hard for. I mean, not necessarily for us because we've already discussed about what Masai should do. I don't think he's going to do anything. If he were to do something, it would have been at the draft. It would have been at free agency, whatever. Obviously, the Spurs front office knows they need to do something, and with the Raptors being the front runners, I don't look too much into that because it could just all be media hype. But
We've heard this
Only
before
time will
with,
tell.
with all kinds of Toronto sports teams about them being the front runners for a guy and then it falls apart. John Tavares was a front runner with the Islanders for the longest time, and then the Leafs signed him, right?
Stamkos was a front runner. I mean, I'm not too sure, but I think that it's just the media and especially
it was-
TSN reporting this because I didn't see this anywhere else besides TSN.
It's big enough that it's turning a lot of people's heads, and I think
It's turning our heads, but we don't know if this is just a Canadian sports media thing. Because what other source reported the same thing?
Well, who posted that?
TSN.
No, it wasn't.
It was The Score, which is Canadian.
The guy tweeted out the odds.
Odd
thing.
Shark.
Does it say where they're from?
Because
it's
this
based?
is it's only got, I don't know if this is 46.
It's verified.
It is verified. It is verified. I mean, they don't have that many followers, 46,000, but I mean, It is hard to tell, but I think it's personally, yeah. See,
Bottom line,
it's not a big. It's not really a big because look, 3 hours, only 2 retweets, 5 favorites. I don't know if they're just bots following them, but I don't think this is a really Yes, it is favorited.
We've also seen it tweeted out by some guys. You know, bottom line, I didn't even expect this.
Right, but if First Take, Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman reports on this, like if the American markets report on this,
If Woj,
right, I'll believe it.
Yeah.
But for right now, I think it's just Canadian media trying to hype it up because the
media period.
Well, not media period, because if it was media period, then it would be all over the States, and ESPN First Take would be talking about it, and Skip Bayless, and all of them would be talking about it, but none of them mentioned anything, so that's kind of skeptical in my opinion.
Right, but we did hear about it, and we're talking about it. That's
Right,
really
and then we can only, I mean, I wouldn't really want to hope for this trade. I wouldn't really want this trade to go through.
Not the exact trade we saw. No.
But I would love to see him in the Raptors. In a Raptors
I'd love to see
Kawhi Leonard.
absolutely.
100%.
For the right price.
Right.
And if contracts. I mean, that thing scares me. That 1-year deal scares the crap out of me. It really does.
But if he likes playing here and we get I would love to see a playoff duel, us either versus Celtics or the Sixers with Kawhi Leonard on this team, man, and we do end up a full 7-game series, maybe in the Eastern Conference Finals, and even if we do end up winning or losing, if that can show him, man, the Raptors can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and to a Game 7 against these teams, man, I love playing here. The city's great. Drake's always, man...
He's always fired up.
He's always fired up on the sideline. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's my pitch to you, Kawhi. Come to Toronto, but maybe Masai. I wouldn't give up OG.
That one piece of OG Anunoby just scares me too much to make that trade go through. It scares me too much.
And the first. I mean...
The first is nice to have. But if you're getting Kawhi Leonard...
right, and plus Masai said that he's not rebuilding, so we're going all in. Even if the Golden State Warriors are looking like they're going to win their 6th championship, we're going all in. So, well, I wouldn't say all in, but we're not rebuilding, or we're not tearing it down or revamping this team. We're not, because if we were going to revamp, it would have already happened, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean. You can only speculate, but once I hear it from a quote-unquote reliable source, and I'm not saying that TSN isn't reliable, but I want to hear it from America media.
You hear it from ESPN, you hear it from Stephen A. Smith, like you said. Then we think, oh, maybe then.
Right.
But otherwise, don't look too much into it.
No.
Bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best yourself. It is something to look at. But, I mean, really...
There's really not much else to go on about basketball, really. Not a whole lot. You said you already talked about
Charles Oakley arrested in Vegas for cheating at a casino.
He's on a roll.
He was the one apparently drunk at a Knicks game.
Well, yeah, and he almost got in the fight.
Did he?
He was yelling at somebody. He got kicked out of the arena.
Yeah, no, that was the same thing. So, he was a great player back in the 90s, but, I mean, I will just look at that face.
Wow, he looks like he's having a great old time there.
Looks wavy, but quick signings here. Heat re-signed Wayne Ellington to a 1-year deal.
That was a guy that wanted the Raptors to possibly go
really
because he's a good 3-point shooter, but with no cap space, it's kind of hard to do.
Right. So if you want, we can just quickly look at the free agents.
If the Raptors find a way to shed some cap,
right? You're right. So, of course, you got Isaiah Thomas. That would be a great... Well, I mean, I wouldn't say a great Kyle Lowry replacement, but... If you trade Lowry for assets and you get Isaiah Thomas for quote-unquote free, I wouldn't be that...
And these are all point guards, right? The one you're reading off right now?
Right.
Okay.
So that's a UFA. Now, an RFA would be Marcus Smart. I'm not a big fan of him because he does flop a lot. So
yeah.
And
he was injured a lot last year. So
right.
That I don't know.
But he's very strong and he's great around the rim, so possibly. I don't even know who this third guy is. But, I mean,
Yogi Ferrell, Jameer Nelson, and Ty Lawson.
I wouldn't mind Ty Lawson or Nelson because they're both obviously point guards.
But again, you have DeLon Wright and Fred VanVleet.
If we were to trade Kyle Lowry or a backup point guard
right now. But yes, if there were two, yes.
If we were to trade those two, then I wouldn't be mad about getting Ty Lawson or Jameer Nelson for cheap. Because right now, we have no room for them. Shooting guards. Obviously, Dwayne Wade. I'm surprised he didn't re-sign with the Heat still.
Yeah, that's actually kind of shocking.
Rodney Hood is an RFA, so is that a guy that could be on his way out of Cleveland? Obviously,
He was one of the pieces in that.
He's still young. If I were Cleveland, I would keep him. I would too. And plus, you have the cap room. Crawford
getting up there.
He's
still very good, but
he's getting up there. He's a UFA. He's a great sharpshooter.
And the one thing I want to talk about, and I see the name on there,
Jamal Crawford,
Vince Carter. Now, he wants to play another year. You think it's possible the Raptors signed him to a league minimum?
Now, this I think this was 2 years ago when he was a free agent from Sacramento, and he wanted money. And at his age and at his point production, the Raptors weren't going to give it to him, and I don't blame them. So, and he probably still wants money. So, if he wants over league minimum, nope.
No, league minimum, I'll take him. Because that'd be an interesting story.
What exactly?
That's all it'll be. Is an interesting story.
And is that really what we want right now?
Of course not.
So yes, it would. But with the Raptors on the quote unquote decline, I wouldn't want to see him right now in a Raptors uniform.
No.
Small forwards, you've got Nick Young, Corey Brewer, Joe Johnson. Really nobody special there.
Joe Johnson.
I know I wouldn't want him. Corey Brewer might be a guy that we could look at. Nick Young, I don't want him. He's like a J.R. Smith, pretty much. Always looks like he wants that bottle of Hennessy. Right. So we got power forwards now. Jabari Parker is a name.
That's an interesting one. He has not been able to stay healthy. I think that's a reason why they haven't signed him yet. 'Cause they don't know what to do.
Former second overall pick from the Bucks. He has a lot of potential. I mean, you could see giving up, a first for him, maybe? He's a power forward, is he not?
Yeah.
Right, so, I mean, he's not going to want to come off the bench, and for us to make this trade, we'd have to trade away Serge Ibaka. So,
which is fine by me.
Obviously, Dirk is not leaving Memphis. Not. Yeah. You got Trevor Booker, no. Michael Beasley, actually...
He was very, very good for the Knicks.
Yeah, he was, and I think he went to a team during trade deadline, or maybe he stayed with the Knicks for the whole year.
Check him out there, see where he went.
I'm not sure, but... See, Michael Beasley, he's points per game. Okay, so 13. He's a bench player, but I mean, see, Michael Beasley's problem throughout his career was that he couldn't. It wasn't he couldn't stay healthy because he was healthy. It was off-court issues was the problem. He had all the skill and talent in the world. He was a former second overall pick back in 2008. So if the Raptors could end up maybe getting him, but I mean, a lot of teams tried this, but he's always been that guy who off-court issues, like I've mentioned, probably hurt his stock, so I don't know if I really want him, and maybe in the locker room he's not too good.
Well, that's the thing. You look at a guy that was drafted first round, second overall, you think, what went wrong? And that was his problem.
He had all the talent in the world. He stayed healthy. It was just off-court issues were the problem. David West, obviously, is probably going to go back to Golden State. Or maybe just retire. Now, Clint Capella's looking for a max deal, so stay away from him. Greg Monroe is he really dropped off. He kind of reminds me of Dwight Howard, where when he got traded from the Pistons, his stock just dropped, like Dwight getting traded from the Magic.
The thing about Greg Monroe, he's not a modern-day center. He can't really shoot the ball all that great.
No, he can't.
His inside post up, he's a freak in there.
Well, you could say the same thing about Andre Drummond.
Well, exactly like that, right? His post up moves are ridiculously good.
No, but Andre Drummond can.
Well, yes, because that guy can rebound like a freak.
Can Greg Monroe rebound like a freak?
No, but he's very good under the rim, and he's hurt the Raptors a lot. Montrezl Harrell on the Clippers. He was a guy whenever the Raptors faced the Clippers, whether it was in preseason or whether it was in regular season, that guy worked hard.
Right.
On a consistent basis. Now, is he a guy the Raptors should go after? No.
Because he's pretty much could... If we sign him, well, that goes Jakob Poeltl's backup role.
What's he really gonna do for us? Honestly,
see, these are free agents we should sign if we do make a trade. If we trade for Kawhi, we can sign maybe 2 or 3 of these guys to fill out the roster.
Okay, let's say DeMar DeRozan leaves. Who's the shooting guards available for starters? And
that's actually a good question.
I think Norman.
Okay, well, you just mentioned probably the worst positioning.
Well, Nick Young is the one spot. So with that being said,
see,
who replaces who kind of in the mix?
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, so out of the small forwards, personally, out of Nick Young, Corey Brewer, and Joe John...
Shooting guard is DeMar DeRozan.
Oh, shooting guard.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You got Dwayne Wade. I don't think he's coming to Toronto. Rodney Hood. I would imagine he's staying with Cleveland. So you got Jamal Crawford, a great 6-man throughout his career. Wayne Ellington and Vince Carter. Well, Wayne Ellington just signed.
Yeah.
So you got Jamal Crawford, and then you got Vince Carter.
So bottom line, it would take either a trade or somebody in the organization, and you know who that would be? Norman Powell.
Yeah.
I mean, who else would it be?
I mean,
really?
Do the Spurs really want him? I mean, they already got.
No, I'm saying if DeRozan leaves, who would take his spot?
Oh, right.
It would have to be Norman Powell.
I mean, yes, right, but I'm looking at Jamal Crawford here, and he could still shoot it.
Oh yeah, he's still a great player, but at the age that he is,
and Vince Carter is older than Jamal Crawford, and if you're older than Jamal Crawford,
is he 41 yet, or is he still 40? Vince Carter.
He just looks old, man. 41.
Yeah, he's 41 now. It's ridiculous. I mean, I want if he does what Roy Halladay did back at the Blue Jays, sign a 1-day contract and retire. Fine by me.
I don't think he's slowing. He is slowing down, but I think he still wants to play.
Oh no, for sure he still wants to play.
But at 41,
I think he's at least at the very best going to get a league minimum. I don't think he'll get any. If he does get any money, it'll be from a garbage team who's not going to make the playoffs. And at his age, you want to go somewhere you can win.
Yeah, I'm surprised because the teams that signed him, Orlando, Sacramento, Memphis, he just went for the money. So right now,
you want to win.
Go to Golden State.
Oh boy.
No, but to win, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see him in the East, or maybe LA. Not sure, but just you got Channing Frye rounding off the center, so you got Channing Frye, which I wouldn't mind him. He is a very streaky shooter, but I wouldn't mind Channing Frye.
He was great with the Cavs against the Raptors last year.
And Alex Len, former first overall pick, obviously he hasn't. So there are options, but like you say, there's not that many small forwards or shooting guards. Excuse me. That if we do trade a DeMar DeRozan,
is kind of thin right now. Bottom line, other than Capella at the center, there's really not a whole lot.
And if we trade away DeRozan, we don't really have anyone in free agency.
Sorry, I completely forgot a part of that trade. Now, it's a very small piece of the trade, but it was eating the salary of Danny Green. So that was.
What positions? Because I know Danny Green is.
I don't know if he's a shooting guard or a small forward. I'm not exactly sure. But with that being said, he's not going to do a whole lot. He's not really a main guy. He wouldn't be a main guy for the team. At best, on a good team, he'll be a bench guy. So that's where I look at a Danny Green.
And you're eating salary.
You're eating his salary, and that's what
8.6 points per game.
Again, he's a bench guy, right? That's really what he's going to be. So when I look at that, I'm like, my feelings still don't change because of the trade, but. There's really not much else to talk about. There's not much else to talk about when it comes to basketball.
Well, not much. I think we did a 31-minute segment here.
About 20 minutes of that was just us talking about Kawhi to Toronto. But that was pretty good.
Right.
It was pretty cool. So now we're going to flip to the ballpark. As the Blue Jays, I'm assuming it's over now, as they were facing the Red Sox today, they were getting their butt wiped. It was I think it was 5-3 when I last checked. But anyways, that doesn't really matter. Because like you said, right off the top, after this 4-game set against the Red Sox, it's All-Star break. And for Jays fans, thank God.
That's saying something, too.
Just because, look, we're not making the playoffs.
Well, no, and...
it's just getting repetitive now.
Yeah, right, exactly. And at this point, Jays fans, you have to realize that, you can only have hope for so long, and I keep saying this, but it's true. But I think every fan, not just us, every fan, they're not optimistic anymore.
No.
They know that the season's done, and that's fine. Every good team at one point, yes, the Jays were good 2-3 years ago, goes through this, and it's normal.
The Jays had their peak when their core guys were in their mid-30s. That's a problem.
Well, they had their peak during the year after the bat flip.
Well, they had 2 years. That year, the 15, and then 2016, they made it to the wild card game.
And 2017 was a wash.
That was a wash.
And this year is a wash.
Going to be a wash, too.
Okay, now, Jays fans are scratching their head because Steve Pearce is hitting over...
I think since going over to Boston, over 400.
Right.
That's great. Good for him.
Oh, okay. And now...
But,
yeah, okay. He was good with the team, right? But he wasn't playing a lot.
Okay, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I know, all right, Steve Pearce was a great player for this team. when healthy. He played a total... when he was traded from the Jays, we had played, 75 games? Something along those lines? He played a total of 25. Yes, his batting average was great. And when he was playing, he was great. Problem, he's played 25 games. He's an expiring contract. He is 35 years old. And what is this team going to use him for?
And that's what I was just going to say. At his age, do you really think that he's going to consistently stay healthy? He could be on the IR.
Today J Happ hit him off the ankles, and he went down and ended up leaving the game. But
it looks good on you.
Rightfully so.
No, I'm joking. But again, people are wondering why we didn't get more back for Steve Pearce. We only got a prospect who he's in AAA or AA.
He's in Dunedin in high A ball. I mean, really nothing too special there.
But we did get something for him, and with Steve Pearce on this team. Guys, think about it. We would win more. I mean, yes, we want to see the Jays win, but at this point,
what are wins really going to do for you?
Right. No, it's true.
I want to see this team win as many games as they can.
But realistically, is that going to help us? No.
No. But what we want to see is players with expiring contracts do well, so trade value jumps. Not like what J Happ is doing right now. It was unbelievable. We talked about getting possibly 2 solid prospects for him. His last 3 starts have been atrocious.
Well, they're only 3 starts, and you have to look at him this season.
You look at his ERA. You look at his ERA, and a lot of fans and stuff look at that.
Right.
You know, his ERA going into that abysmal stretch was 3.6, and that's a very good ERA for an American League East pitcher. That's really good.
Yeah.
Coming into the game today, it almost jumped to full point at 4.44. Now that is just going to go right up. Because he had a terrible start again today with the grand slam to Mookie Betts.
It's Mookie Betts, though.
The guy's hitting 350, which is a joke.
Yeah.
The guy's unbelievable. But you know how they get him? They draft or they internationally sign free agent,
right,
and you develop them.
But, I mean, obviously the Yankees have to look at J Happ in the season and how good he was. It's 3 starts.
Right.
And look at the team he was facing.
I'm talking from a fan perspective. People look at numbers. You know, but organizations, no, they look at the pitcher. And they look to see what is that player going to give you.
Right.
J Happ is a very good pitcher. We have seen that pretty much all year long. These last 3 starts have been awful. But through the first 20-something he's been unbelievable. So teams will look at that. But with a team like the Yankees, I don't know if the Yankees will go after him now. Because he got lit up by the Yankees, and he just got lit up by the Red Sox, possible a playoff foe. You don't want a guy who just got lit up by the Red. If J Happ threw an amazing game today, threw 6 shutout innings against the Sox, and we win, they might consider it. But since he got lit up, I don't see them making that trade.
I mean, but you're only looking at one team. I think that many other teams
Cubs
around
were
the AL...
talking with them. Right. You know, there's some other teams. It's going to happen, right? I think the Phillies were a team talking with them.
You have to make a trade. Get something back for him, and then maybe he can re-sign in the offseason with us.
Well, he clearly loves it here, so he might just do that.
Yeah.
So trade him, get something back. The Jays will suck a little bit more, which for hardcore Jays fans who just want to see this team win, I'm sorry, but that's just what it takes.
Every Toronto sports franchise went through that.
How did the Leafs do it? And look where they are now.
Right. They were garbage for, back
when the Leafs signed P.A. Parento and guys like that.
For a solid 3 years, we were garbage. But then we developed our prospects, we went through hard times, and we got John Tavares, and we're the favorites to win the Stanley Cup this year. So, and the Raptors, yes, they are kind of on a quote-unquote decline, but before 2014, guys... The Toronto Raptors were...
Exactly, they were abysmal. And you had to draft JV, you had to draft DeRozan, you had to find Kyle Lowry out of nowhere.
From Houston, right? So you have to trade and then develop prospects. And obviously the Jays could not be a winning team forever.
Right.
Right? So you have to get rid of these older pieces for young guys. And we keep saying this, but it's not rocket science.
Guys, as much as people... hate Shapiro and Atkins because all we've done is lose with them at the helm. They're trying to fix the team. They're trying to fix what this team did.
And I think you mentioned something in I think the last podcast that really stood out was that They got brought into this mess.
Yeah.
By who was it again? The Alex.
Well, Anthopoulos was the
Anthopoulos.
Right. So he was the So Paul Beeston retired, and Shapiro took over as the president, and Shapiro signed Atkins.
Right.
So,
but they were brought into this mess.
Right. So Anthopoulos traded away the entire farm system for Tulowitzki, R.A. Dickey. Heck, you could even say
David Price.
David Price. You could also say the flipping 2013 Jose Reyes and that big Miami Marlins trade. Now, ideally, a lot of those prospects in those trades have not panned out as of yet. You never know what could have happened if they were in the Jays organization.
Well, I mean, you could say the same thing about David Price. Norris? Or was it
Daniel Norris, Matt Boyd, guys like that you traded for David Price. They haven't really turned out as of yet.
But you don't know. Who knows? We can trade away the whole team.
A great example would be R.A. Dickey, a Cy Young winning knuckleballer for Noah Syndergaard, possible Cy Young Award winner.
Okay.
And he's still under 25 years of age.
Yeah, but the Marlins didn't keep Noah Syndergaard.
No, I'm talking about R.A. Dickey, the Mets.
The Mets. Oh, sorry. Yeah, but the thing is, guys, is that it's not guaranteed we'll get somebody like a stud. For example, if we trade away Justin Smoke, if we trade away all these star guys on our team, we're getting these promising prospects, but these promising prospects showed nothing in the big leagues yet. They are promising,
right,
but we don't know. Daniel Norris looked like a blue chip prospect.
He did.
And look what he's doing now.
He can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy.
Brett Laurie looked like we drafted.
He looked like a great prospect for the Jays. Yeah, and then he couldn't stay healthy, and he really wasn't consistent.
And he has anger issues.
And now he's not even playing.
Really?
He's not even playing in the big leagues anymore.
Is he playing professionally?
I don't know.
Wow.
I have no idea. I have
Shocking.
no idea what he's doing now. It tells you right there, guys, that yes, prospects look great. And Santiago Espinal, the guy the Jays got for Steve Pearce, yeah, right now he doesn't look like anything. Heck, out of nowhere, he could jump through the rankings and be on the Jays next year. I don't know.
Same thing we...
You stockpile prospects, and you get better.
Didn't we get a prospect with Jason Grilly? No, who was that?
It was, okay. So, what happened was, you look at last year, and the Jays traded, everyone talks garbage about Shapiro and Atkins because not making the playoffs. That's the end-all and be-all of it all. The Jays Shapiro and Atkins traded Francisco Liriano last year. Actually, no, forget that. I'm going to go back a couple more years.
Okay.
When they traded for Francisco Liriano. They also got outfielder Harold Ramirez. Name doesn't sound familiar to a lot of people. I'll mention it in a second. And they got rid of Drew Hutchison. A lot of Jays fans preaching, wow, we got rid of Hutchison, and we got a lefty that we need, and you get a prospect? Oh my goodness. Well, Harold Ramirez, I think he's like 23, 24 years old. He's in Double-A New Hampshire, and the buddy's hitting almost 300, in or around there. He's doing very well. And then you got Liriano and him for Drew Hutchison. I think he's a bullpen guy for some team. I don't even know where he is anymore. And then last year, they trade away Liriano, and they got Teoscar Hernandez. So bottom line, you look back at it, you got Teoscar Hernandez and Harold Ramirez for Drew Hutchison.
Right. So
you got two solid-looking prospects for Drew Hutchison.
Right, so you don't know who... You know who you're trading away, as in with a big, but you don't know who you're getting. These promising prospects, again, like I'm saying, we could be flops. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but it could happen. But if they're promising, their upside is greater than their downside.
Right, and somebody with a lot of upside, not who you're thinking, somebody who's in the big leagues right now, Ryan Borucki, and I'm going to continue to talk about him because he pitched his third major league game in his last outing against the New York Yankees, and he went 7 innings, giving up 1 run. He was great. His first 3 starts, he's gone 6 innings, 7 innings, and 7 innings against the Houston Astros, the Tigers, and the Yankees.
And where was he on our prospect depth chart?
Last year, he was nowhere to be found.
There you go.
So and then he's jumped to the rankings, and then now he's a top 10, and now he's in the big leagues running 3 great starts.
Well, there you go. So you can't look into this that much. You have to just look at a possible trade, and you can look at the prospects a little bit, but don't get your head wrapped around, we traded away Justin Smoke for, who is this guy? He's not even hitting that well or pitching that well in Double-A, Triple-A, whatever league he plays in.
Yep.
Until he actually, or what age would you say is a prospect, like, kind of?
I think 25, 26 is kind of like the cap off.
Okay, so the guy's still young, and he has up until that time to develop. You can't say anything about him because they're just so young.
And speaking of so young, Vladdy
Nice
J.
transition.
Vladdy J.
What do you mean Vladdy G?
Junior Z, Vladdy J. Junior, Vladdy Junior.
You saved it, but okay, go.
I tried to. I honestly, right when I said
Vladdy
it, I'm like,
J.
right when I said it, I'm like, oh, what the heck?
Vladdy Jr.
Sure, Vladdy Jr. Reports come out, was it a couple days ago, that when he comes off the DL, I guess you want to call it, and starts his rehab, which actually he's going to be starting tomorrow. There's a possible plan that when he has done his rehab, he will be going right to AAA Buffalo.
Now, you mentioned something about this, and I think you were against this. You wanted him to jump from AA right up to the Jays, the big leagues, whether it be this season or next season. You wanted him to tear things up with AA, which he already is doing, but for the whole season. Now, with this being said, and this probably happening, is this a bad move?
I mean, I think if they do it right
Would this
away,
stunt his growth?
I think if they do it right away, yeah, it's
He's
not
18.
a great move. 19.
He's young,
but he's very, very. He's in his teens still. I think with this guy, see that it's such a tough call, right, for the Jays, because he's been out for so long, and Labor Day weekend, the season is over for the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. So you have that little tiny window if you want to call him up to AAA Buffalo or not. Now, you don't want to wait too long, right? And I think if he was healthy, he'd be in AAA right now.
Right. See, that's what I was getting at, is that he's not healthy as of yet, but when he does get healthy, quote unquote, you don't know if he's 100% healthy. If he does go to AAA New Hampshire, is it New Hampshire? Buffalo.
New Hampshire, yeah.
Okay. If he does go to AAA,
right,
with his injury still being there or being fully healthy, whatever. He had an injury before he went up there.
Yep.
You could see him play a little bit harder, play up to his competition, if he's not already there yet, and then maybe get re-injured. And that being said, us Jays fans know we love our Vladdy J, as you would say.
Yeah, okay.
And if we see him with another injury because he did get called up too fast, that would look horrible.
I think when he comes back, I mean, he's going to start with the DCL Blue Jays in the Gulf Coast League. I think it's the Gulf Coast League. Tomorrow he'll be starting his rehab. I think, in my opinion, I think he should at least get into 5 to 10 games for AA New Hampshire.
And I think that too, just to get his motive a little bit up, just to test things out.
Just to get back in the groove of things. I mean, why not?
It was his what? Or it was
his leg. It was his knee or something. Something along those
another
lines.
knee injury.
Right, we're talking about, excuse you. My goodness. But I mean, with any like we said, with any injury, knee, leg related, it's always scary. Especially with a guy with as great as pop as Vladdy Jr. has.
I mean, just nursing back from an injury, I would think just keep him in AA so we can tear it up.
What I think, and I think this injury has kind of told us all Jays fans what's going to be happening, is that with him being out as long as he did, I don't think he's seeing the big leagues this year. I think because if he was healthy, I think he'd be in AAA already, and that gives the Jays flexibility. Because September call-ups start in, obviously, September, and he would have been up here in July. He'll have a month and a half in Buffalo. If he's still tearing it up there, why not give him a chance?
So you're saying that if he was healthy throughout the year,
I think he could have seen him in September.
Okay, okay. Now, with that being said, if the Jays were still... See, I mean, the thing about the Jays is that they're not necessarily abysmal, but they're not a good team. Right. So, would you want to see him on the... Okay, let's just say that the current Jays now, but in September. Like, again, not an abysmal team, but just not good.
If healthy, yeah. Yeah, I've heard that it does not burn a year off his contract, off of his arbitration years.
Yeah.
If he comes up in September, which is great. But I think with the not playing for a month and this taking a little bit more time, I don't think they should do it.
He's still a teen. He's still developing. His muscles are still developing.
Just because Acuna Jr. on the Atlanta Braves is 19 and playing in the big leagues does not mean that Vladdy J, G, whatever, has to be there.
That has to be the best name, Acuna Jr.
That's great. It's great. I mean, that's That's what good teams got to do. Draft, develop young guys, get good players, and then build around them.
Yeah.
Freddie Freeman was there for so many years. Now he's got finally a good team around him. You had Nick Markakis, former Oriole. Ozzie Albies, rookie. Guy's got 20 home runs already, and he's a rookie. He's 21. Ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And then you throw in Acuna Jr., who's doing just fine over there as well.
So you could see, you could say an appetizer, right, of Vladdy G in September. But, like James said, I'm not too sure about with this injury. I would love to see him stay in AA throughout the season because of this injury, which he's been out for a long time.
Yeah, over a month.
Oh, there you go.
I mean,
so it had to be serious.
That's a sizable injury.
Right.
And when you talk about re-aggravating an injury, that's exactly what happened. He got injured initially, and then a couple games later, he re-injured it, and then here he is, out for over a month. Yeah. That's the problem. That was the problem with Stroman. He had that shoulder inflammation in the spring, thought everything was good to go, made his first start, lasted, a month? Less than that? And then he's gone for a month and a half.
And that has to be the worst feeling ever for a fan and for the player. You just came back from this injury, month-long injury. Okay, I'm all ready. And then you throw out your arm or something, your knee or whatever, terrible. And then you're out for 2 months instead of the one you were just out for. So you don't want to rush it. I don't like this decision, but only time will tell if they are actually going to do it. I don't know.
I think they should give him more time in AA to kind of regroup, regain his I guess...
Yeah. Like, after an injury, don't transition him right to AAA.
No, he's never been there before.
Exactly.
Why bother do that?
But it says that they might.
Well, I mean, if they do and he rips it up, then he's proving everybody wrong.
But if he doesn't and he literally gets ripped up...
Well, then they did something wrong. But only time will tell when it comes to that. There's nothing to talk about Jays wise.
Why do you keep saying that?
What, is there?
Well, I mean... we did talk about, again, Vladdy G a lot. We talked about the Blue Jays and how the season's almost half over, so that's a good thing.
It's over half over now. Thank God.
Well, trade deadline's looming, right? But, I mean, for the Leafs, we screamed about John Tavares. Yes. Guys, by the way, John Tavares is a Toronto Maple Leaf, if you guys haven't heard.
I never get sick of hearing
that.
Never.
No. Me and James are going to go through other free agent signings because there was one which was pretty interesting. Tyler Ennis.
That was an interesting one. I didn't see it coming.
No.
But I like it a lot.
Yeah. Well, I do too. If you guys don't know him, he was looked at...
bottom line, former Buffalo Sabre that used to torch up the Toronto Maple Leafs. All the time. Small guy at
5'8", but was drafted in the first round, and... he almost won the Calder, I think, in his rookie year. He was amazing in his rookie year. So in 82 games played, 20 goals, 29 assists for 49 points in 82 games for his rookie.
20-goal year in his rookie season. The crazy thing is, people think, Leaf fans think, Tyler Ennis, he's got to be at least pretty old, right? He's got to be...
No,
get
guys.
Out there a little bit. He's 28 years of age, guys.
So,
28.
I mean, you have to look at it from a standpoint where, yes, he is a winger. Yes, he is small. He doesn't really... But he fits the new fourth line in 2018. It's not old tough guys anymore, guys. It's not your Colton Orrs, and it's not your...
Ryan Reeves and Matt Martin.
Well, you are talking about the Stanley Cup winning... Or the Stanley Cup... I think he won a game for Vegas because he scored an overtime.
Yeah, but I'm sorry.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So, you could... Now, I still think Tyler Ennis is an NHL player. I cannot...
I think so, too.
I can't... He would have to have an abysmal training camp for him to be sent down to the Marlies. Hey, if it happens, it doesn't matter, really. I mean, this is a low-risk, high-reward kind of signing, if you will.
I think with this move being made, that kind of signals... To me, it signals the end of Josh Levo.
It signals the end of Levo and Josh Doris if he was ever going to make the team. And it also signals... I mean, okay, so let's just go through quickly. Your top two lines are set.
They're nasty. They're dirty.
Line one, you got Matthews, Nylander,
arguably saying it's line one. Arguably, because we have pretty much two number one lines here.
Exactly, yeah. Second line, you got Tavares, Marleau, Marner. That's set.
Wow.
All right. Third line's pretty much set where you got Connor Brown, Kadri, and I want to say Janssen.
And I think Connor Brown and Kapanen might flip once in a while. I think that's going to be a thing.
Right. Okay. So then let's just say for the sake of this,
say Connor Brown.
Connor Brown, Janssen, and Kadri. Fourth line, we don't know who our center is yet.
Probably Lindbaum, probably.
I don't know because they just signed, Gauthier to a 2-year deal, and if he, yes, he...
It was a 2-way contract, so...
Okay, you could say Lindbaum. Let's just say Lindholm.
Lindbaum, I think his name
It's not, because I pronounced his name wrong. I don't think it's Lindbaum. I think it's Parr. All right, whatever. Parr as our
Parr.
fourth-line center. And then you have Kapanen on the left side, and then...
Maybe on the right side, and then Ennis on the left.
I'm guessing that's probably what it's going to be.
It's not bad. It's pretty
No,
darn good,
it's not.
guys.
Josh Doris, I don't think would ever get a shot at
They're
making the
scoring
roster.
on all the lines there.
If that is the lines. If you could see somebody from the Marlies jump up, and then maybe you could see Mason Marchment. You could see
Trevor Moore,
Carl Grunstrom. We don't know, but for Tyler Ennis, he is still an NHL player, and he just got bought out of a $4 million per year salary.
And the Leafs got him on a bare minimum.
Can't go wrong with that. I'm surprised he got a bare minimum. I thought he'd at least get $1 million.
Don't hear me complaining.
Right, and in this last season with the Wild, he put up 22 points in 73 games. So, that's not terrible for a less than... That's Colton Orr money. That is league minimum. So,
and Colton Orr never scored goals. And Tyler Ennis actually can put the puck in the back of the net.
He is a playoff performer, too. In the 2 years with Buffalo, this was back in the day. 14 games, 8 points. Guys, and we're making the playoffs this year. I would love to see possibly Tyler Ennis maybe get a shot on the power play.
It's going to be a very interesting year. Now, the back end is still the question mark.
The back end is still a question mark, yes. But they did... Justin Hall obviously is going to...
I think he'll get a legit chance.
He's going to fight for it with Connor Carrick.
I think Carrick's got the upper hand as of right now, just because of the NHL experience.
Obviously.
But I think Justin Hall's not too far behind.
He's very, very sound, and I'm not too sure Carrick is sound defensively. He obviously has more offensive upside than a Justin Hall.
We don't need that right now. Offensive upside on the back end? No thanks.
No, we don't. And that being said, we have, obviously we know our top 4 is pretty much set in stone. Now, it is definitely interesting that Kyle Dubas, he pretty much said that he's content with using defensemen from the farm, from within the organization, to bring up or call up, if you will. So I don't know how I feel about that, because I don't. Other than the 2 defensemen we just drafted. In
Sandin and Jersey?
No, 2017.
Liljegren.
Right, and then Sean Dursey and obviously Sandin. I'm not too sure if we really have any good defensive quote-unquote prospects on the Marlies.
Well, I think Liljegren and Dursey are both going to be there, I think.
Right now.
Right.
Yes, we have Timothy Liljegren, but he's at least, I would think he's
a year away. And we're not talking Bruno Caboclo a year away from being a year away. We're not talking about any of that stuff.
Would you want to see him maybe do the Travis Dermott thing where you give him a shot maybe halfway or maybe...
Depends how he's doing.
Well, Travis Dermott, his last year with the Marlies, he wasn't overly good.
But I think it was the defensive mindset of Travis Dermott.
And that's what we're so psyched on Justin Hall. And
with Timothy Liljegren, a lot of people don't realize it. His defense improved a lot last year with the Toronto Marlies.
What I noticed about him is that he has the shot and he has the skating, obviously. But, he's not the biggest guy, so his toughness isn't all there. Right. He does these, like I'm saying, boneheaded moves sometimes in his own end.
He's 18. Oh my goodness.
And he set a record for youngest defenseman ever in the AHL to get over, I think, 20 points.
I think it was the points per game, the best points per game for an 18-year-old or something like that.
Ever.
Ever in the AHL. It tells you right there how good he was.
Right. So, I'm not giving up. Obviously, I'm not giving up on hope, but people want to give him a chance so quickly because they look at him and him being a right-handed shot, a mobile puck-moving defenseman. We drafted him in the first round. He's Swedish. But you guys, you have to give him time.
He's not gonna come up and be Erik Karlsson right now. It's not gonna happen.
Or ever. We don't know, right?
Really, you don't. The word prospect is a chore. It's a wait and see.
Especially
what it is.
Especially for defensemen take longer to develop.
Look at Morgan Riley. I don't think he's capped off yet.
I don't think so either. His first year with the Marlies, he played playoff. He was terrible.
Yeah.
I remember me and you watched him.
Yeah, it was not all that great.
He was okay, but he didn't stand out. Now, you're looking at possibly a 60-point year for Morgan Riley.
That'd be insane.
I don't think he's capped off yet.
And at the cap that he's hitting right now,
and
that's
with
beautiful.
John Tavares.
Oh, that name still gets me.
I mean, John Tavares, if you put him with
Real
anybody...
quick, hold on. Just one more time for the fans. John Tavares is a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Maple Leaf.
Oh, my God.
If you understand...
I never get sick and tired of that. I will never get sick and tired of hearing that.
Because it hasn't sunk in yet. If you guys haven't seen... Did you retweet it on the Teal Sports Talk Twitter?
The
if you go on my Twitter, I retweeted it from CCM Hockey. It was John Tavares in a Leafs uniform. Boy, he looks good.
He looks fantastic in a Leafs jersey.
91.
I love it.
I love that number too. Maybe that's my new, because I have 2 white jerseys. We're not going to go through the first one I have. But
Screw it. I'm going to do it anyways. David Clarkson.
Evan Brown has a David Clarkson and a Nazem Kadri, both white. Obviously, the Nazem Kadri, I think you actually got that for me for my birthday.
Yeah.
Right. It was a great present. But see, I need a blue one. Now, I'm thinking John Tavares. Now, I know everyone's going to have a John Tavares jersey.
Yeah.
But...
That's why I like my Willie Nee jersey. I like my William Nylander jersey.
I just watch until it gets traded.
Don't say that.
Now, with that being said, transitioning into that, we haven't heard any fronts, and it's not going to happen. So this is the last time we're going to talk about it on the podcast. He's not getting traded.
William Nylander.
Not getting traded.
Sounds good to me. The last two, speaking of William Nylander, we have 2 remaining RFAs. It's William Nylander and Andreas Johnsson. Those are the 2 RFAs.
So let's speculate on the deals here. So
I think William Nylander is going to get at least like 6.5. That's kind of my range for him.
Remember, David Pastrnak got 6.6 after his breakout year. Think about it like that. So I think for him, 6 even.
Okay, I think 6 to 6.5, that range. How many years would you say? 5, 6 years?
5. I would want more than less. So 6. I wouldn't say. You know what? 6 sounds good. 6 for $6 million. 6 by 6.
That'd be nice.
Now, the more interesting one, because we're going to re-sign both these players. You kind of figure what the William Nylander contract is going to be like. With Andreas Johnsson, I have no idea.
My thought, and I'm hoping the Leafs can do something like this. The reason why...
Would you want to tender him?
No, I think the reason I want...
Well, you already tendered him, I guess. Yeah.
With Andreas Johnsson, what I want them to do is get him long-term on short cap.
But see, that's risky, because if you get him on long term, we don't know. We don't know if he's gonna. He looks like he's gonna be a good player.
You don't want to risk that. You know what I mean? You don't want to give him a 1-2 year contract,
but
and then
do you
he
really
lights
want
it up, and then you can't pay him.
But that's the same thing we had with Martin Marincin, where we thought he was good. We signed him for 2 years at over I think it was like $1.5 million.
He wasn't that good.
No, he wasn't that good. But we signed him, and we had to bury him in the minors. So, with what you're saying right here, and what Andreas Johnsson has produced in the playoffs and in the regular season for the most part, and with the Marlies for Christ's sake, you would want to sign him for, I'm going to say, long term for Johnsson would be 3-4 years at, I would say,
2.5. Try and get him on a Connor Brown or Zach Hyman type of contract.
Okay, and if he is, let's just say he's a total flop next year. He's horrible defensively. He's small. He gives the puck away. He's not good.
We're dealing with Nikita Zaitsev's crazy ass contract. So there you go.
Okay, relax now.
Come on.
But you could see him down at the in the minors, and with
depending if he gets a 2-way or 1-way contract. Because if he gets a 1-way, he ain't going down. 2-way, well,
if he's not performing and we have to send him down, maybe
I
he'll
don't
get
think
through.
They will. You want to risk losing him?
If he's not performing,
I do not want to place him on waivers. No thanks.
Okay.
No
even if he's absolutely abysmal, because he's at he's at that age now where he's 24. He's turning 24, so he's not a prospect.
Age is a number. How many years of NHL or
I get it, but
professional hockey experience has he had?
You can
in North America.
You can only say that for so many years until they do end up capping off.
But when was it? How many years has he played in the American League? 1 year, 1 full season.
Well, you're talking about full seasons. I'm guessing he played, I want to say 2 full years in 1 injury year and a bunch of playoffs.
For a 7th round pick, I'm okay with.
Oh no, that's good for sure. But I mean, I want to see what he can prove first until I lock him up.
Well, then we might not have enough money to lock him up. That's the problem.
But we have to worry about that later. And if he wants to, again, he could be a trading asset.
Yeah.
We don't know. But
Yeah.
for me, for what I want to see him with, give him a 2-year deal at, I'm going to say 2.5.
I say 2 to 2.5 at 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
Because it's still a movable contract if need be.
It is, but you haven't seen... I don't think Dubas has seen enough of him to give him a long-term
Well,
contract
I think if
yet.
you give him 3 or 4 years and he doesn't prove himself within the first year or two, you trade him.
Because look at Matt Martin. People said that
Okay,
was a
all
movable
right, all right.
contract. People said that wasn't a movable contract, but it can move. And a really bad Andreas Janssen is better than Matt Martin at his best.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
there you go. That's what I was getting at.
That's why I'm okay with giving him term.
Yeah.
If the cap's low enough. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, right. But it is interesting that we left those two pieces for less. But they'll definitely get done. I don't know when.
I can't see them not.
There's
getting
no
done.
rush, and Kyle Dubas is taking a lesson from Lou, where he's taking his time with these things.
And the reason I like Kyle Dubas a lot more than I do Lou Lamoriello is because Lou is playing the old style of hockey. You see what he's done with the Islanders, bringing in Leo Komarov, which is a nuts contract.
I don't know if you saw this, but the Islanders recently signed Ross Johnston.
Yeah. Oh, I saw this. The enforcer.
4 years, $1 million per.
4 years for an enforcer.
That's $4 million locked up right there.
I'm telling you right now, Lou Lamoriello is loving his grinders too much. Hello? Listen, look at it.
I mean, Ross Johnson will...
Ross Johnson, Matt Martin, Zizekas, Clutterbuck, Leo Komarov. You need 12 forwards. That's 5. That's almost half your center, half your forward core are gritty grinders.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at it here.
And you lost John Tavares.
No disrespect to Ross Johnson, but it's not looking good. In 24 games for the Islanders last year, he had 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points, and 62 penalty minutes.
People are going to say, well, it's not too bad for an enforcer. He got 4 years.
At $1 million per.
Yeah, an actual we got Tyler Ennis for less. And he'll probably put up more than that in the first 20 games.
In the first 10 games. Oh, okay. I don't know.
That's a lot. That's like, what, 6 points in 10 games for Tyler Ennis? Relax.
Well, I mean, actually, I didn't take that in yet. We signed Tyler Ennis, a Calder candidate, back in
22-point guy.
A 20-goal guy, a 25-goal guy back in the day.
I'm talking about last year, 22 points.
Okay, well, whatever.
And they signed Ross Johnson, the enforcer, for 4 years at $1 million.
For $400,000 more dollars per year.
And he had 6 points last year.
But, can Ross Johnston beat Tyler Ennis in a fight?
Well, I think anybody can.
Well, yeah.
Ross Johnson, isn't he huge? He's like 6'8" or something? Well, good for him.
Well, he's 6'3".
Oh, okay. Well, he probably acts 6'8" because he's a fighter. I mean, look at him. He's just a greaseball. But, I mean, good for him that he gets $1 million a year for just standing there and fighting everybody.
But scoring a couple goals.
I just don't know.
I'm floored that Ross Johnson
And then you look at the Leafs. What has Dubas done? Drafted some great defensemen in the draft. You sign John Tavares. You get Ennis on nothing.
This has to be the best starting month or 2 months rather for a GM in GM history.
At least in my eyes, yeah.
You sign the best free agent in modern day history for one thing. I wouldn't call Sandin a franchise defenseman, but
he's a good solid defenseman. Yeah.
Screw it. Kyle Dubas made the John Tavares signing happen. He did.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole team did, but he's the one that really talked to him, I'd imagine.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. He's the general manager, right? That's what happens there.
So, with these moves, I can't see the Leafs doing anything else. Maybe another Adam Cracknell signing.
I mean, really, nothing. No. More or less some depth AHL guys.
Even though the Tyler Ennis signing, thumbs up for me.
Very good. I love it.
But Ross Johnson got more money. I don't understand that at all.
I can't even believe that. I think we're going to wrap it up on the name Ross Johnson. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
All right, so you guys, thank you so much. Do we still have questions?
No, Max Pacioretty and around the NH.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Who cares about Max Pacioretty and the Montreal Canadiens? But fine, we'll talk about it.
So the report is that Montreal is actively shopping Max Pacioretty, and because he is not going to re-sign with Montreal Canadiens. I don't understand what Montreal's doing. Yes, he's obviously not coming back to Montreal, but they're losing another goal scorer. I don't know what Montreal's doing, and that's plain and simple. I don't.
Now, I think with the fact of Chicago today unloading some cap. We'll talk about that trade in a little bit, but they unloaded some cap.
Right.
And with that being said, that could kind of size it up for a Montreal Pacioretty deal.
I mean, you could see maybe an Alex DeBrincat going back the other way.
Center. It's a center.
No, that's a winger. Nick Schmaltz is a center.
I think DeBrincat was a center with the Erie Otters, but yeah, okay.
He's a winger. You could see Nick Schmaltz going back to the Habs. But if you're Montreal, what are you really doing? You're giving away a 30 goal scorer. Doesn't matter for who. You're losing 30 goals.
They're not going to contend. We all know that.
Well, no, but Carey Price just...
And I love how Hab fans are like, we'll trade Pacioretty, we'll get some draft picks, we'll get some young guys, and then it'll be a good team. All right, well, there goes another year of Carey Price gone.
Well, and there goes another of Shea Weber. There goes another year of all these veteran guys who can still perform.
Making a ton of money.
And you want to win now, so why would you give away a 30-goal scorer for a guy? I mean, I don't know who they want. Chicago has been in the mix, but I can't even speculate a mock trade.
No, I can't either. I mean, really.
No.
For Max Pacioretty, and he's going to be in the final year of his contract. I don't know. That's all over the place.
But with Chicago, they just...
like we said, they unloaded some cap.
Unloaded Marian Hossa's contract to... Who else? The Arizona Coyotes.
Where contracts go to die.
Pavel Datsyuk, Dave Bolin, there's probably some other ones.
Chris Pronger,
yeah. So they didn't get... Chicago didn't get anyone notable back. The only really guy was Vinny Hinostroza that the Coyotes got back, which is one name and maybe Jake Ostertail. But other than that, just a bunch of farm hands.
It wasn't really a big thing. It was more or less just to unload some salary cap.
Marian Hossa was the big name, and he isn't even playing, so that just speaks for itself on that trade, right? So, I mean, and obviously the Erik Karlsson saga is still going on.
It doesn't. I don't
you
know.
Heard Dallas.
Nikita Kucherov signing. I don't know. I don't know about Erik Karlsson.
Yeah, Kucherov 9.5. He could have got more, in my opinion. He's an unbelievable player,
big time.
But he didn't.
With that being said, though. Does that maybe drop the price on William Nylander? With seeing a guy like Kucherov, a 40-goal guy, a big, unbelievable player, get 9.5.
I don't think so. Obviously Tampa Bay knows that they want to win, so he would obviously sign for less. And for a Nylander, he knows what he's worth, so I don't think so. And they're two different style of players,
for sure. Oh, absolutely.
So I don't think so, but. I mean, just going back to the Karlsson situation, we heard Dallas is the front runners now.
Thank goodness, get him out of the.
Miro Heiskanen was rumored about going back, and if I were Dallas, I would not trade Miro Heiskanen.
No,
I don't know what a trade would look like. You could see Jason Dickinson. There was a lot of players on, obviously, the Texas Stars that we've seen that were pretty good. But I mean, what does an Erik Karlsson trade look like? It's so hard to, and if you're Pierre Dorian, you have one chance of trading Erik Karlsson. That's it. And once you do, that's going to be on your Wikipedia page forever.
Well, I think a big reason why is because he's in the last year of his deal. I think
and the Ottawa Senators are going nowheres, so you have to trade him. But for the what pieces? And I don't mind. I mean, because. Right now, you're getting top value for him. You're getting pennies on the dollar at the trade deadline for Erik Karlsson.
No, if you wait till the deadline, you're getting squat.
Because he's going to be a free agent in 3 months at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean...
For right now, you got a full season of him. So trade him right now, and I think Pierre Dorian...
That's the way I felt about the Jays trading Josh Donaldson, but they did not. Yeah, well. Just a little flashback there.
Right, so if I was Pierre Dorian, I would trade him. Because I think we all know that he's going to trade him.
It makes no sense keeping Erik Karlsson around next year. You already traded Mike Hoffman. That's a 30-goal guy. You're not going anywhere next year. Same with Montreal.
No, they're not. So, I mean...
Why bother keep Karlsson around? Maybe they want to try and sign him? I can't see it happening. That's it.
No,
the way all the fiasco has been.
They offered him 8 years at $10 million per, and Drew Doughty got 11. And you could argue, and I think so, that Karlsson is a better
offensive player.
Right, but I mean, he's on par. I don't think he's less than Drew Doughty. He
I think two-way wise, I think Drew Doughty is better.
Overall,
offensively, though, I think yes, I do agree that
he's worth if
it's about the same,
if not more. But $10 million, I think that's a little low.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I can't see him going back there, and they're just in a weird weird time. But now we're going to move to the questions. The last segment
that's
here.
it for hockey. It is 11 p.m. as we record this, so we tired.
Rest.
Yep.
Can't wait to get back to normal time.
You sure?
I'm not going to say anything this week.
Good, because you might jinx it again.
Yep.
Okay, first.
That's why I'm not saying anything. Who we got? First question.
First question. Favorite walk-up song by Michael?
Favorite walk-up song?
I guess for
the Jays
baseball.
or for me?
For both. For you.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Kevin Pillar always has a good walk-up song. Jose Bautista, when he came back, they played his walk-up song.
What is it?
I forgot what it was. I forgot what it was now, but it was a very good one. For me,
maybe Girls Gone Wild? Maybe Spice Girls?
Oh, yeah. That's mine right there. No. I don't know.
Maybe Living on a Prayer?
There's all
Mission
kinds. I mean, that's
Impossible?
tough to say. I don't really know.
Katie Shop by 50 Cent?
All right, anyways. What are you just rambling on now? Let's get her going.
All right.
What do we got?
Charlie! I mean, this is really a question, but you can
Okay.
answer it. Why can't the Blue Jays be in an easier division? It's the teams.
Tell me about it, buddy. Tell me about it.
I think it's the teams around us. Yes, Tampa Bay, but
Boston and the Yankees. That's all you need to say. I get it. Sucks.
why?
Money. Payroll. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yankees and Boston have some stupid payroll, and that's that.
All right. Okay.
I get it, buddy. It sucks.
Yeah.
But we got to deal with it and somehow find a way.
I think that's it. Oh, here we go. Roderick B.
Roderick, what's up, buddy?
Early podcast question. If you record it later this week, which we are,
Yes, we
sorry
did,
about
yeah.
that. What are your thoughts on the name change from the Air Canada Center to the Scotiabank
Stupid!
Arena?
And also the Rico Coliseum changing its name
Is
to...
it to what?
The Coca-Cola stupid or something like that. It's just
Well,
frustrating.
it's nothing worse than the. I think it's the KFC Yum Center, or James is blowing his nose and he's laughing.
funny right there.
Yeah, the KFC Yum Center, or the Little Caesars
Arena in Detroit. I'm sorry, the KFC Yum Center?
I think that's the. I don't know.
That's just rough. That's rough.
Right. So I mean, it's a business. It happens. Every good name, every good thing has to end. I love the name of the Air Canada Center. It has the name Canada in it.
Yeah, that's the way
Air
it should
Canada
be.
Center?
And the logo wasn't the Canadian.
And there's
the
a
leaf.
lot of Scotiabank centers. I think there's one in Calgary.
Ottawa did have one, the Scotiabank Place, and then now it's Toronto.
I think Edmonton has one. Or no,
Rexall Center. Well, they used to have the Rexall Center. I don't even.
I think it's something
So
Scotia.
many darn new arenas and stuff like that all over the place.
Scotiabank, yeah, with Scotiabank,
As of right, it's going to take adjusting too. I don't
but
like
it's
it, though.
not original. I don't like it either.
No, it's not the ACC anymore.
That's it.
We can't call it that anymore. It's weird. I'm going to still call it. I don't care.
It's like the Sky Dome.
Yeah, we all call it
But
that.
we
It's
know.
Rogers
Well,
Center,
I don't
really.
think we were alive and enough to call it the Sky Dome.
Right. To us, it's
For
Rogers
the
Center.
ACC, come on.
That's us. That's what it is. To me, you, and
It's not the SP or no the
Scotiabank Place. Is it
TSP.
All right. Anyways, we're just gonna leave it at that. TSP. Well, I don't even know what we're getting at.
Well, anyways,
now.
guys,
we're losing our minds.
End of episode 20. Thank you guys for listening. If you guys are listening to on YouTube, iTunes, wherever, subscribe to James's main channel. Subscribe to the podcast channel. Follow up my Twitter. Follow up the Teal Sports Talk Twitter. Do all that stuff.
All those links are down in the description, guys. If you're watching,
Right.
if you're listening on YouTube, Evan and I really appreciate your guys' support every single week, and I will talk to you guys in a little bit as the Jays, they play the Boston tonight. We'll talk about that in a little bit, and Evan and I will talk to you guys.
Hopefully,
Keyword hopefully. Tuesday afternoon, normal time, as episode 21 will kick off. What will we talk about? Well, we're going to have to wait and see, as we still have some days to figure out some stuff to talk about. Hopefully some positive things when it comes to the Toronto Raptors. Maybe some more updates on Kawhi Leonard. We'll have to wait and see. We really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate your guys' support. And
thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, we'll talk to you guys then.
Peace.